Hey guys, we're taking a look at yet another Marvel Legends figure because I mean I just can't escape them right now. This is definitely maybe hopefully 100% the last Legends figure that I'm buying for at least a little while, and it's the last one I'm getting out of the Thanos wave, and it's the last comic figure in the wave. So we've got Taskmaster here. This is the classic style Taskmaster, not the Udon style Taskmaster that we got a while back, which I didn't get, and now I kind of want him. So we've got him in that standard Marvel Legends packaging with the Avengers logo down on the bottom, big window. We've got the figure on the side, artwork, which looks pretty nice, that nice skull up there. And then we've got some product shots with the lineup and the old California raisin down there. So let's pull them out and take a look. Alright guys, so here is Taskmaster out of the box, and this is a more classic style Taskmaster. The last one we got was the Udon Studios type Taskmaster, and I don't actually have that one to compare. I wish I did now that I'm doing this figure, but this is a classic style Taskmaster. It's not exactly classic because when we get to that head, we kind of come into an issue where this looks more like a skull rather than a mask, and a lot of times Taskmaster was shown in the classic era having a white face, but I still overall dig this look pretty well. So there is a tremendous amount of parts reuse going on here, I believe, and I'm sure, as usual, someone is going to educate me down below, which I always appreciate because, you know, like I say, I'm not an authority on Legends parts reuse, but this is the Bucky Cap body, that's for sure. I know these boots are reused from somewhere, and I'm sure these gauntlets are reused from somewhere as well. I just don't know off the top of my head. I don't think I have any figures that specifically have these parts, but I think the overall look and aesthetic of this figure goes pretty well with the parts they did select. So let's do articulation and then we'll talk about his overall design. So the head can swivel. He does have a little bit of up and down, but it doesn't really want to stay because he's got this mask, that, well, the hood that sits on top of the skull, and then he's also got the cape. So there's a lot of plastic in between the head and the body that really kind of negates that articulation. I'm going to pop this shield off just to get it out of the way, and then we'll do the arms so it can go all the way out. It can rotate. We've got bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, but the gauntlet is going to get in the way, so you can only go about that far. We've got hinges and rotation on the wrists, crunch, and then a little bit back. We've got waist rotation, so that belt hides that joint there. Legs can go out about that far. They can kick forward. They can kick backwards. We've got a thigh cut. We've got double jointed knees. We've got a boot cut. And then we've, of course, got rotation and, or rather, a pivot and hinge at the ankle. So it's exactly what you think it's going to be. You're not missing anything. You're not getting anything extra with this figure in terms of articulation. It's the standard kind of boilerplate Marvel Legends stuff. Let me go ahead and pull this sword out. And as far as the overall look and feel of this Taskmaster, like I said, it's very much a classic style. It's not 100% based on the head. I feel like the head looks a little too much like a skull to be the actual classic Taskmaster, but at the same time, I do think it looks pretty cool. He's very much, you know, kind of bonehead going on there, and I'm very happy with it. I think it looks really cool, despite the fact that it may or may not be what you consider classics. It is pretty cool looking nonetheless. I think there's some good paint going on there. There's a bit of a wash. You got those really white teeth. The only thing, if I have to pick one thing that I might not really like about the head, is that it looks like he is perpetually smiling. And I don't really care for that, but it's also not a huge negative either. The rest of the body is exactly what you expect. It's Bucky Cap stuff, so very muscular, which is fine because that very much fits the Taskmaster persona. We've got some free-floating straps, which I really don't care for, but it's not a huge deal, and I'm going to glue them in place. I wish we didn't have to do it, but at the same time, I'd rather have to do it and get it where I want it to be than have it done incorrectly by the factory. So this guy, if you move him a little too far, he's just going to fall right down. So it kind of sits right around the thigh cut, actually. So it'll help hide that joint a bit. The belt is movable, and it's got the Taskmaster kind of emblem on the buckle there with all these pouches, which look pretty good, actually. We've got the holster, and then this strap is actually free floating, and then you can move it around a little bit. But overall, it looks good, and the free floating straps don't really bug me too much. It's just more of an ongoing annoyance for me that I have to do that when ultimately I'd rather not, but it's not a huge deal breaker. As far as paint goes on this guy, there is a decent amount. You can see we've got the The cape is a two-tone cape. We've got the orange on the interior and the white on the exterior with the gold braid and the clasps around the shoulders. We have got orange on the arms. We've got orange and white on the chest. We've obviously got the logo on his belt. And then, of course, the other arm is the same. The only real issue I have with paint on this guy is that I feel like the arm paint is a little thin, especially on my right arm. You can almost, and I'm not sure if this is going to pick up very well, you can almost kind of see the blue through it. It's a little bit thin. I feel like maybe another swipe would have done him a little more justice, but when it comes to paint, I really do like the face. I think it looks good. Whether or not you agree that this is the Taskmaster we should have gotten in terms of that face, I do think just because it's a skull, I'm really on board with it. I'm a kind of a skeleton guy. I've got a huge He-Man collection, so there's a ton of Skeletors in my house, and I'm always happy to get a skeleton character, and I think this fits the bill pretty well. He very much looks very evil. He has no nose, which isn't necessarily what I think of when I think of Taskmaster, but it's honestly not a big deal either. He just looks very good. That's really all it comes down to. This very much looks like a Taskmaster type of character that I would think of if I'm thinking of an older Taskmaster and not something from the more modern day. All right, now as far as accessories goes, we've actually got a decent spread, and it fits this character quite well. We've got 3 different accessories. We've got a sword, we've got a gun, and we have got the shield. So the sword is just your standard kind of classic style sword. It's got a gold metallic hilt with some silver metallic paint on the blade. I believe, someone correct me if I'm wrong, and I know you will, that this is a reuse from Baron Zemo, or at least he has this sword. I don't know if that's where it originated, but I believe he has this sword. And then as far as the gun goes, it is, as you can see, in this holster, and it is a very, very tight fit. It fits in there very snugly, but it's that kind of Luger looking pistol that I've mentioned in other videos that I really don't care for. I just don't like this design of this gun. Nothing really against its application in this particular figure. I just don't care for it. I'd rather have a traditional style handgun than this one, but it fits inside the holster really snugly once you actually get it in there. And it's probably going to stay in there as far as my figure goes. But then we've got the shield as well, and this has quite a bit of paint on it. It's got the blue and the navy blue and then the orange T for Taskmaster, so it kind of goes like that. And then this is that traditional style Marvel Legends shield that has the hinge on the back, so you can clip it on a wrist or he can hold it in his hand. And overall, I like this shield. I like the design. There is a little bit of paint feathering on the inner white ring, but overall it's very, very clean. And the lines on the T especially are very, very crisp. So yeah, I'm a fan of this, and it's definitely going to be displayed on this figure going forward. So at the end of the day, I am pretty happy with this figure. For something that I really wasn't sure I was going to buy or that I needed to buy, he turned out to be pretty good. I like the paint applications. I like the extras that we get with that sword and the shield. I really don't like the gun like I mentioned, but that's just because I don't like that particular mold. And then this is the Bucky cap body for the most part, I believe. And while that is pretty old and getting kind of tired at this point, it works well on this figure, and overall it's a very classic-esque type Taskmaster. It's not 100% the classic Taskmaster, but I do think he very much looks the part, and now it makes me want to go back and find that Udon style Taskmaster, so we will see about that. But for now, that's going to do it for this look at the Marvel Legends Taskmaster figure from Hasbro. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time, guys.